How to remove the engine mount on a Lincoln MKZ and Zephyr. The tools you need is a 13mm bolt socket, a 18mm socket, I believe I already said 13mm socket, and a 21mm socket, and you'll also need a breaker bar, such as here. That's what I had to use to get the bigger bolts off right here. And you'll have these two here. There'd be one here, but the whole piece came off like that. You have two more bolts here. Before you access that, you'll have a plate here that looks like this. And it'll have, I believe it's maybe two bolts on it, whichever one. These are the 13mm, so you want to take that off so you can gain access to the bolts down here. So after you do that, you want to go and break all these bolts loose. They look like that. So to get those off, they will be on there pretty good. So you will, like I said, need a breaker bar to break those loose. Same thing with here. Now it's able, you'll have a bolt here and a bolt. Don't know if I can get it too well. About right where my finger's pointing at. You know, bolt here. I was able to get those two off just with a regular extension and a ratchet on it. So after you do that, you want to go ahead and got all this up. Before you do this, you will want to jack the engine up. Since this is a junk car, I'm not too worried about it. But I just got jacked up on the oil pan. But what I did, I'd put a block of wood on the jack lift first before you start jacking up. I would say this is not the proper way to do it, but since this is a scrap car, I don't care if I busted the oil pan on it. So what I did, I lifted up just enough where the car kind of starts moving up. Therefore you're holding the engine up on it, because if you don't do that, basically the full weight's on the bolts and you won't be able to really break those loose. So that's what you want to go and do after you get that off. Make sure you get all the bolts off, then you should be able to shimmy this off. Alright, so a little change of plan here. I wasn't able to shimmy this out without having to disconnect this. But since I didn't want to do that because it's still pressurized, I took a 1/4 socket, as you see there. And you'll have these little pegs here, like I showed earlier here. You want to go ahead and take that to the end of here, which is facing upwards. And I just took all those 4 out of them. Well, I had 3 because the other one came off with the bolt. And after you do that, I just kind of lift this up. Basically, you got the little stud here. Don't know if you'll be able to see too well. I had to lift this up first, then I can just go ahead and kind of shimmy it out a little bit, wiggle it. And you'll have to kind of try your best. I'm trying to do it one-handed. And you can just pull it right on out. And out it comes, as you see here. So if you're wanting to just change this bushing here, what you have to do is also the same step, but you'll have this bolt down here you want to take off. This whole piece will come off of this mounting bracket here. So then you get your new one on, line it up here, gonna put the bolt back on there. You want to get it nice and tight because it's obviously going to be on a heavy engine here. And then I would try not to move your engine around where you had it. So just kind of leave it where it's at and put the piece back on here and go and screw in all your bolts here. And since you've taken that out already before, we'll go ahead and put your bracket back in place and go ahead and screw this piece, this rod here, all the way in as far as it goes. So, don't know if I'll film it. Just want to go ahead and just screw it in. Make sure I always like to hand screw it, therefore I don't cross thread it. Do that with all of them after you get the bracket in place, and go and put all your bolts where they go. So that's how you remove the engine mounting bracket on Lincoln MKZ and Zephyr. Thanks for watching.